Hey everybody, JamieStarr here for the New World News Network. Today we're going to do a couple videos. This video I think I'm going to title, "To Beat the Left, We Must Be the Left." And what I mean by that is, I look at a lot of these protesters, and a lot of them are very vapid, I guess would be the right word, and sort of empty. So they see a loud mob saying, we're against racism, we're against this, we're for this, and they're very easily drawn to it. And conservatives, libertarians, we don't really go about handling our issues in that manner. We're not into the whole lawfare thing and cramming up the system by trying to keep someone under. Could you imagine if there was a liberal gay speaker and a bunch of Republicans went and started burning shit down in front of it? Now, the crazy part is that's the impression they put forth. They put forth the impression that because Trump won, we were going to start beating people up and burning shit and going wild, when that's what they did. This whole time, it's been they're going to, and then the other side goes and does it. And this is a great example of that. The other thing about this, and this was an idea of another video, is going to be millennials, generation worthless. And I haven't watched the video yet, but I think Paul Joseph Watson did a video with this similar vibe. How millennials, the problem is they're this generation that's been, the special snowflake. They've been told they're great and they're going to change the world and everything like that. So, and that's why the moment that they hear someone like Milo or someone called a Nazi, they're like, oh, well, we have to go stop him. We have to go do something, because they're so worthless. They wish they could do something like the generation that fought the Nazis, that's known as the greatest generation. They want to do something like that, which I guess is admirable. Their heart's in the right place. They wish there was an evil out there like the Nazis for them to fight. And they don't realize that because they're so motivated for this battle, and yet it's to an enemy that doesn't exist. It's these phantoms of patriarchy and racism and, whatever else. And it's just not there. The people they call racist, Milo, Cernovich, Paul Joseph Watson, if you actually go to a site like Stormfront, they're making memes calling them all race mixers, or Gavin McGinnis is another one, race mixing, Milo's a kike faggot, the whole bit. So all the people that get accused of it are actually hated by the white supremacists. This side doesn't even care about that. Because think about it. If you had someone like Milo be like, no, I actually get targeted by the white supremacists, well, then maybe there'd want to be an alliance between the leftist and Milo, where they could say, oh, well, there's the real white supremacists. Let's go after them. No, doesn't happen. Nor do these people ever look into any of this stuff. Never look into the policies. We're going to get to a clip, and we're going to see the organizer of part of the Berkley thing, how nuts this little woman is, and the way she plays this sort of mental gymnastics to paint Milo as being a bad person. So, first we'll go to her speaking. And let me just think, is that everything? Let's say generation worthless. They wish they could fight something like the Nazis. They're looking for that. They want to do good, but they're so easily misled. But to beat the left, we have to be the left, is basically, we might have to start protesting the Democrats as the racist, go on issues like the amount of black babies that get murdered over abortion. We have to start acting like them. We have to make our own culture. We have to, because that's what will attract them. They're not that bright. That's all there is to say it. They're going off an emotional level, where we're going off a very intellectual, mental level. A great example of that is, look at the CNN debate between Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders that happened this week. And whereas Bernie's out there with all of his rhetoric about, oh, I'm for the little person, I'm taking care of the little people, the underprivileged, the poor, we're going after the rich people, the millionaires, the billionaires, those evil people, this, and that. And then you had this woman who works for herself. She came up, she said, I have a boutique, we have 3 locations, I'm hiring, up in the right under 50 people, because it turns out there's these 2 things, 29ers and 49ers. 29ers are the people who have to stay under 30 hours, or then Obamacare. 49ers are the amount of people you can hire before you have to start paying the insurance stuff. So she came out and she said, listen, I got these locations, I got these employees, there's not a big profit margin, I can't even afford insurance for myself. I could open another location and hire more people, but then I would have to pay insurance. That would be so much that I would then have to just shut down shop. And Bernie looks her right in the face. And listen to what she's saying. She's saying, if I could open another location, but because Obamacare forcing me to do this, I will be out of work. They'll all be out of work. There will be no more business. I mean, and that's the situation I'm in. I work at a local cafe. I get very bothered when people say $15 an hour, this and that, because I know what's coming in, and we're doing all right. We're not doing amazing. We wish we were. But if we were to get jumped to 15, I'm gone from that job. And frankly, I really enjoy cooking. I really enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy it. So I get really bothered when people start saying their political ideas that I know will directly lead to my unemployment. So I guess in a way I understand where the working class, over NAFTA and all this stuff that voted for Trump are coming from. They're sick of politicians playing with their future. So anyway, Bernie looks at this woman and just says, if you're hiring over 50 people, you should be paying insurance. It doesn't register with him that you just told this woman you shouldn't be able to have your own business, you should be hiring no one, you should be doing this because you should be paying for this. And the whole end of it is where is this money coming from? Where is it coming from? Who has this amount of money? So the heart's in the right place, but when it pans out, it's always completely contrary to everything they think they're doing. Because he thinks he's trying to uplift people and help them out, and what he's pushing for is going to lead directly to their unemployment. And I tried talking to my mother about this, and she, of course, worked for the state, so she is a complete statist, and I tried to explain to her, she said, well, those people, they should have insurance. And I said, okay, but you're saying you want them unemployed. You think they should have more than just the job, so what you're advocating for will end up them with nothing, because you think they should I don't know how people can say these things and be told you're going to fuck my shit up, and these people feel, that's the weird part, it's so emotional, but when they're confronted with the reality of it, they just don't give a shit. I mean, maybe it's because they think they're doing something grander, so they're willing to just that's how socialism leads to genocides. That's how the sick and suffering and, retarded people, those that can't properly articulate and, aren't fully mobile, that's why they go first. And then anyone else who doesn't fit into the equality, off to the side, you're just collateral damage. All of this, 20 million people have Obamacare now. Well, yeah, you're going to punish them if they don't. But then, what about all the people who lost their plans? What about the people their doctors? You know what the response to that was? It was, well, they're not good enough. You don't know what's best for you. The giant mommy-daddy government machine knows what's best for you. And if you think you know what's best, and we have another idea about it, too bad. And then you're still going to sit back and call this a free country. Anyway, Let's get to this crazy broad.
On this side where the entrance is. So like the folks that are standing over there, just migrate over here.
And I want to say a couple of things about Yiannopoulos and sanctuary cities. In the Breitbart News today, which is Milo Yiannopoulos' news source, right, and Steve Bannon's propaganda machine.
Notice how she said Milo Yiannopoulos' news source. I don't think when you're working somewhere that tends to be your source. That's your outlet. I mean, minor thing, but it almost makes me wonder, like, is she projecting the echo chamber, basically? Is that a situation that she would be in where her outlet is also her source, and she just assumes the same as for Milo? All of this stuff is projection. You know, I realized that with the race thing, these people who think everyone is making their every judgment based off of race and ethnicity and gender and all of that, the only way they can even accuse people, because I tell people this all the time, you are accusing me of something I would never even fathom articulating against someone. The level of, well, you must be thinking, your reason for this must be. I mean, just outright trying to tell someone you know what their thoughts are. I can never be comfortable with that. But I think it's the projection thing. People are assuming everyone's making every single decision off of race. It seems plausible and palatable because they're making every decision off of race. A lot of it's an admission of guilt. Anyway.
They announced that tonight, Yiannopoulos intends to announce, if he's able to speak, his partnership with Holocaust denier David Horowitz to organize together against sanctuary cities, to organize attacks on undocumented immigrant students and families.
And Milo spoke about this. Organized attacks? What is she talking about? I mean, and this is what she does, though. Again, the projection of it all. She is with all these people because she has organized an attack on Milo's event. So she imagines if Milo has an issue with illegal aliens, that he is going to go about handling it in the same manner she would. That's how consumed with themselves they are.
Not about free speech. These are not people who are interested in any genuine debate. They hide behind that hypocritically to try to shut up and put in our places women or Muslims or minority or oppressed groups.
Now, isn't it amazing? She's the one out here saying they're not interested in debate. We're going to shut him down by any means necessary. Again, it's sort of this weird double thing going on.
But what they're really trying to do is they're trying to assert their power, threaten us, intimidate us, rape us, kill.
You hear this? Milo's in there planning massive rapes of leftists. I mean, look at this batshit crazy. And there's a Napoleon complex. You can see that in another video. She's small. She is off her rocker. And you see all these stats about how Asian Americans do so well in America. She's probably doing great. I don't know what happened with this one. And, you know, it's funny, though, because I know there's a big, you know, it's probably the China thing and Trump being against China. I don't know if she's Chinese. I'm making that assumption. But I do know there's also kind of large segments on Twitter of Japanese sort of alt-right. Like, I've seen racist remarks out of Japanese people on Twitter, like teenage girls and shit, I would never expect. Never expect.
Us. This is real. This is life and death. This is not an abstract question.
Milo giving a speech is a matter of life and death. Says the person who organized the beatings and burning shit. And I'll tell you, I really wish I had a good lawyer friend, because I'm getting real interested in the RICO statutes. Like, I'm starting to wonder why there's not an ambitious enough lawyer who's going after her for the beatings that happened to all the people. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, but free speech, you know, like when I did the petition, and I was asked to do a video on this by itself, but I'll get into it. When I did the petition for the thing against Rosie O'Donnell, I had a follower of mine, who's a great follower, always gives good feedback, be like, you know, this gets really close to trampling on free speech and everything. And I said, it does until it becomes real. And that's the thing. And that's why I wasn't saying it should have been pursued to its fullest extent. I said I would really just want a $10,000 slap on the wrist. These people, you can now see the violence that they have been fomenting. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. That's a fire that's continually had wood thrown on it. That's the easiest way to see these. All of these are fires. Racism, for example, is a fire that burns both ways. You know, it's either black or white, blacks and Mexicans, whites and Mexicans, whatever. But it always burns both ways. You can't just have it going in the one direction. But this violent, you know, mob for sort of, these are such horrible people by any means necessary, you know, and then accusing them while they haven't done anything. And of course we know what's going to happen. Standard feminist, up in your face, mushing you in the face. And then when you're finally like, they're going to go, why'd you hit me? I'm a woman. And that's all it's going to be. They're going to say, we're the victims, we knew you were violent, completely disregard what they just did, and that's what's going to happen. We see it happen.
Whose theory are you interested in researching? This is about our lives right now.
It's not that deep. It's really not. It shouldn't be. That's one of the things I've been trying to tell people about Trump, this all evil, you know, dictator with all this power. President was never supposed to be this way. You were cool with it becoming that way as long as you liked who was in charge. Now you got a problem with it. You should have had a problem with it on principle from the beginning. I tell people that about gay marriage. Don't be surprised if someday it just gets thrown out the window, because it was gone about in the wrong way. It wasn't done legally, it wasn't done the right way, it was all this superseding power shit, and if it's gonna be done, it should be done the right way. So then it can't just easily be tossed out the window. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. It's, you know, the ends doesn't justify the means. Not in these cases.
Every single person here, look around, know and feel responsible to each other, because we are who we can count on. And I promise you, if we work together and we stay united, we can count on each other. We can shut this fucker down. Shut this fucker down. Count on each other to shut this fucker down. There's nothing positive in any of this. That's the other thing that bothers me. He will not divide us. This shit. None of it's uplifting. None of it's, I mean, it's just basically taking people and being like, it's miserable. I'm miserable. So what should we do? Break it. Burn it down. Shut it down. Stop. Misery loves company. And that's why you see that he will not divide us thing is a great example where you have these miserable, he will not divide us. He will not divide us. He will not divide us. And who's there having fun? All the right-wing people. When the Nazis tried to kill some of us, after we recovered, some of them threatened me, and students at my school tried to get me fired, but they didn't succeed. And the students and the parents and the community rallied together and not only got me my job back, but we're stronger now. So we have got to stay united and make this clear. So we got to keep tethered,
You're really going to be gone now. You're pushing your luck. And that's why people like this are dangerous. Because you would have thought after the first time around, she'd be like, alright, maybe I should chill on this stuff. Maybe I should just be a teacher and stop trying to be a cult leader and chill. But she didn't. Because to her, this shit is serious. You're in deep. It's life or death. Milo's gonna come out there. He might be in drag. It's so offensive, right? You're for that, but if he does it, he must be appropriating or something.
People who want to speak, keep your eyes open, because if Yiannopoulos shows up in our rally, he's 6'2". Whether he's got his blonde hair or brown hair or red hair or a hat, look out for him.
Because you're gonna what? Lynch him? That's what this is starting to sound like. Like you're organizing a lynch mob.
Because if he comes here, we've got to make clear to him directly to his face that he is not welcome, and we will shut him down by any means necessary.
So you'd kill him, basically. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. What does she think the phrase, by any means necessary, implies? It doesn't imply peaceful. I can tell you that. I don't see how this is still going on. Anyway, let's check out an older clip of her. This is from over the summer of last year. This is probably when she was talking about Antifa clash with white nationalists. And you can see this is the Napoleon complex on full display.
They're not going to have anything done to them, are they?
Nazi, come get the off our street. Get the fuck off our
Are these people going to do anything?
Get the fuck off our street.
They say we don't have freedom of speech.
Here you go, boy.
Yep. They say we should. Be nice. Come here, Nazi.
Get the fuck off our streets. Get the fuck off our street. Piece of shit. Fuck you.
Sir, please. I'm just here to protest. Please.
Stand down. Get out. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get
Sort of nice seeing her get, pushed around after she was just pushing someone else around. So you can see that's who she is. No problem like pushing people and just being unruly and fucking ridiculous. And then there's this clip where she talks about the Milo protests. So let's get into this.
Now is Yvette Halarka with the group By Any Means Necessary. And Yvette, I know that you were there. First of all, tell me, what specifically is it about Milo Yiannopoulos that you and others have an issue with?
Well, first of all, Milo Yiannopoulos is a fascist.
Not true. By any definition. He's probably more libertarian, pretty much a liberal, very moderate mainstream. So I don't know what she's talking about, but she'll explain.
He's a white supremacist. He's
not true either. I don't even have to get into it. That's so known, Milo's proclivity for black men. So insane.
Funded by Steve Bannon and Breitbart.
Here's the other thing. What do you do when you're someone like this and you start to realize you've been attacking someone and there's no basis to your claims? How do you deal with yourself afterwards?
Funded by Steve Bannon and Breitbart. He's an acolyte of Donald Trump.
Whatever that means. So, Trump, Bannon, Milo, fascism, for some reason.
And he was on the UC Berkeley campus to try to recruit more fascists.
Yeah, there's a recruiting going on. The army of Keck.
Wage attacks on Muslim students, immigrant students, women, and trans students.
Do you hear this claim? While she was on the UC Berkeley campus organizing attacks on right-wingers, Trump supporters, Milo fans, and everyone else. See, that's what really happened, as opposed to this conspiracy theory she's just rambled off.
Now, Milo himself denies those allegations, but again, that's why you were there, and that's why you felt like it was important for him not to speak. What is the real fear of him having a conversation with the 500 students or the 500 people who had bought tickets to the event?
Well, just to go back to how you characterize the protest, this isn't a question of violent versus peaceful protests. I was there, and there were thousands of people out there who were united. It was a mass protest. It was a militant protest.
It was a militant protest. See, the left does this, all these euphemisms and word games. What she means by militant protest, she means violent protest. She means they fucked shit up. And you can see as she's like trying to describe this, and you see the footage, and you're like, this doesn't match. Like, she is downplaying this, dare I say, whitewashing it, while, you know.
And everyone was there to shut him down. And so whatever it was going to take to do that,
everyone was there to shut him down except the people you beat up.
All there with a united cause, and we were stunningly successful.
But why not?
They were success. This is the success. Let that sink in. They're celebrating this as a win. You know, you've had Cernovich say right-wing safety squads. There has to be a pushback to this. And I almost think it needs to be like an armed, like it's a Second Amendment march pushback, because you know these liberals don't have guns. So just to sort of buck up to them if they want to throw their bricks or pour piss on someone or step out of line, it can go there real quick, because people were in the hospital from this. This is the Civil War in America. I said this in a previous video. When you have a generation of soft men, this is what the Civil War in America looks like.
Not be peaceful about it. Why not, you know, chant and hold your signs and things, but when you take the barricades and you destroy the building and when you set fires, isn't that counterproductive?
You know, I think that the left has been far too timid for way too long.
Now, I mean, this woman is so great because she's so honest. Like, this is all stuff we were saying. We thought, I mean, some of us were saying we thought they were going to take it there, and this was the direction they were going, and it seemed that way with the whole socialism thing and everything like that. But this woman is just laying it all on the table.
Counterproductive?
You know, I think that the left has been far too timid for way too long.
Let's keep this in mind. Far too timid for way too long. That almost seems to imply that she thinks it could go even further.
And it's why we've even gotten in this position where we even have someone like Donald Trump leading a fascist movement as the president of the United States. We need to make sure that we have more mass protests, more militant protests.
More militant protests. That means more violent protests.
Are mass and militant. And the reality is that
mass and militant, big and violent.
These aren't people just putting forward their ideas. There's white supremacists who've already murdered 6 Muslims just 5 days ago in Quebec. There was a woman in Korea.
He wasn't a white supremacist. He was a Quebec nationalist, from what I've heard. But don't let that spoil the narrative.
Not from Korea, but who was from Korea in Los Angeles, who was just beaten down by a white supremacist. We have a right to defend ourselves, and not only a right, we have an obligation to do that. Not just...
People have a right, and see, here's the crazy thing too. She just conflated terrorist attacks and Milo speaking. Yes, the people in the mosque would have had a right to defend themselves. Yes, the Korean person would have had a right to defend themselves. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Milo's just going there to talk. He's not going to jihad something.
For each other, but for our communities too.
Let's go back, though, to the speaker and the fact that he was going to be speaking to 500 people. And some say that because of what happened at the protest, this got national attention. He did national interviews.
Yeah, you're making him super famous and a super big deal, but...
And so instead of his voice being heard by 500 people, now millions of people are online Googling Milo Yiannopoulos. So does that defeat a little bit of what you were trying to do?
The right wing and the fascists in this country already have a spokesperson, and they've already found one in Trump, Steve Bannon, and also now Milo.
It's like a three-headed monster, isn't it? Like, that's what she sees us as, like some Hydra creature with...
But now what I think was so important about our success on Wednesday, which is why it should be the model for how the movement needs to take things now.
You hear this shit?
Now in the future.
Really?
Yeah.
Even the woman's like, really?
Let me finish. Is because we need to make sure that the millions of people out there who are angry and who are scared under Donald Trump and everything that he's doing now, know that there are people out there who will stand up and fight the way the movement needs to. That clearly Wednesday was not business as usual. It was people fighting united in a mass effort, in a united effort, and by any means necessary.
But you know, though, that some in the business community, they were really upset because they, too, were targeted. They were blocks away from the university. And so when you talk about this happening again, some in the business community have voiced a lot of frustration with what they've seen before. And now to anticipate even more of that, you can understand that frustration and that there is a lot of concern.
Yeah, you're going to have business owners like the LA riots posting up on the rooftops, sniping off these little brats.
About what is happening at these protests. And that innocent people, those that may be with your cause, may actually be hurt as well.
But there's two things to that. One, Chancellor Dirks is responsible for anything that happened. And if
do you hear that? They're not responsible for their actions. They're just reacting. Someone else is responsible for all of this and all of that. I mean, this is this weird, the collective shit. They did this with Trump, you know. Whoever endorsed Trump, well, Trump was responsible for them and everything they believed.
The community is upset. They should join the professors and students and community members who are demanding that Dirk step down immediately. Because he had a chance to cancel the event to make sure it didn't happen. There were hundreds of professors who demanded that for safety reasons.
I have to say, if I was that woman, I would be scared. I would be scared being in a room with a woman like this. Because this is like psychopath, sociopath, way out the park. Like, this woman is scary. How there's no empathy, no sympathy, no remorse. You are either think like her, speak like her, be like her, follow her, or burn, basically.
He didn't listen. One. Two, a few broken windows is nothing compared to the lives that are at stake.
What is she I mean, this is life or death. The broken windows are nothing compared to the people who someone's trying to kill. Milo's organizing hit squads. Like, what is going on?
And if that's what it takes in order to make sure that more people don't get targeted, if that's what it takes to make sure that Milo Yiannopoulos or another white supremacist is not welcome or allowed to come to UC Berkeley and attack our community, then good. Let's make sure then that that doesn't happen in the future.
So no regrets at all about what took place?
You know, what we need to do is we've got to draw lessons from this in terms of how we can build and build even stronger, how we can make sure that we build them.
They're going to see this and be like, fires and smashing are necessary because it works. They're like kids. This is what children do. If they throw a temper tantrum and then they get the attention they want, that's going to be their MO. This woman is saying this is going to be the MO.
Movement, and also that we continue to organize, because it's not spontaneous. This is about organizing and fighting by any means necessary.
All right. Yvette, thank you so much for sharing your perspective on that. Ted, I'll send it over to you.
This woman is dangerous, and she is openly just casually, openly calling for violence. And she needs to be handled and shut down. So there needs to be organization against this. But I just wanted to share all this stuff. I got food in the oven, so I gotta run. I can't really do too many wrap-up remarks, but have a great one, everyone.